What's up, YouTube? We're here with another one. As you guys, if you've been watching our videos, have seen, we've been focusing a lot on both DTF and DTG, but that is not the only area of our shop. One thing that we do that we kind of kicked and screamed about for a while, as you probably know, is embroidery. Um, we got into it slowly, and it was a customer demand thing. They wanted to get all their stuff in one place. Um, that part of our business has grown and grown over the last year and a half or so. We got to the point where we had to decide what we did from here. Our embroidery was getting backed up more and more with customer demand. So we had to decide, did we need another machine? Did we need to start outsourcing it? What was our best avenue to produce these orders in a timely fashion? So we did a lot of research. We had a Smartstitch S-1501 that we bought about a year and a half ago. We didn't know if we wanted a dual head machine or another single head. After kind of looking at our workflow and what we needed to do, we decided that adding another single head S-1501 was probably best for us. There are times where we could definitely use a dual head machine, especially when we're doing hat embroidery. Having that same machine running 2 hats at a time would have helped. But there are also a lot of small orders that we do for customers, and to be able to have 2 separate dedicated machines for individual orders was best from a workflow standpoint for us. We ordered the first Smartstitch S-1501 from Amazon. We decided to do the same thing. This last time it was a nightmare. They said it was shipped, it was stuck in a warehouse somewhere, kept giving a delivery day of the next day. Finally, we got this machine after they had to resend another one and cancel the first one. Wasn't a Smartstitch problem, was an Amazon problem. We're going to run through this video. There's some time lapse in there of us setting up the stand, setting up the machine. We'll just kind of show you how it comes, how it sets up, and we'll see you at the end. We ordered our Smartstitch S-1501 from Amazon. They delivered it. Thankfully, they have a lift gate because we do not have a service bay door here. They were pretty efficient. Had a lift gate, didn't have a pallet jack, which made it a little bit interesting. But it came well crated, as our other machine did. No damage to the crate. The first thing that Smartstitch does tell you to do is check the crate, make sure there's no issues with it whatsoever, and to save the crating in case you have to return the machine. Because this is clipped together and not screwed together, saving the crate is pretty easy. We found just a screwdriver and popping the clips off works probably the best. I'm sure there are other ways to do it too, but we pretty quickly got it uncrated, kind of brought everything in, started setting out the parts and pieces. The machine is fully assembled, but the stand is not. We're just going to run through a quick time lapse of assembling the stand because it's pretty boring. They do have instructions, but if you've ever assembled one of these like we have, it's pretty self-explanatory. One thing that I did here that I wish I hadn't have done was put the feet on before I actually assembled the stand. There's a couple of screws that are in that kind of interfere with getting your Allen wrench in there after you put your feet and your casters on. So I would recommend assembling the stand completely before you put those on, but obviously I didn't do that. I guess that's why you should read the instructions or watch the videos that Smartstitch has for all of their stuff. These stands are really sturdy. I was worried that having a machine on a stand was going to create a lot of vibration and stuff in the machine. It doesn't seem to do that. Once we roll ours into place, we do set the feet on them down so the casters are not just allowed to roll. I would think with doing some embroidery you'd get some slight movement if you didn't do that, but we always just set the feet, and it makes it a lot easier. All of this stuff, the hardware seems really well put together. It's pretty solid. The one thing that I noticed when putting this together is if you use the Allen wrenches supplied by them and torque them a lot, you sometimes get that Allen wrench rounding off a little bit. They're made for fine adjustments on the machine more than I think they are for assembling the stand, but they work. You just got to be careful of how tight you tighten stuff. Um, like I said, the stand is pretty solid. It's well put together. It's made specifically for this machine. So once you get all your parts laid out, I found that doing it on the floor is okay. I probably, if I do another one, I'll do it on a table rather than sitting there on the floor. But again, it's just kind of a preference thing. It probably took somewhere along the lines of 20 minutes to set up the stand-ish. And then, like I said, the machine is fully assembled. So once you get the stand on there, it's just a matter of standing up the stand and setting the machine on top of it. It's definitely a two-man lift. It's not super heavy. It's just awkward. So once we got it stood up, we used two of us, but you can see here kind of messing with those feet because it gets in the way of the Allen wrench. It would be a lot easier to put the sides and the cross supports together before you put the feet on it. But lesson learned there, and like I said, if we set up another one, we will do it a little bit differently. This S-1501 is a really decent machine for what we use it for. I can't say that we do a ton of the large flat embroidery like you see on the left side on the hoop. I would say 99.9% of our stuff is either apparel, shirts, hoodies, that kind of stuff, or we use them a ton for hats. Since we got the second machine, we set up a lot of one machine for doing shirts front and back, and then the other machine usually has the hat hoop on it, so we don't have to be switching over that driver all the time. Works relatively well. It's not a big process to switch that driver out to put the arms back on it, but if you can keep one designated for hats and one designated for just your flat stuff or your apparel, that's what seems to work best for us. But we did get a huge apparel order about a month ago, and we were able to use two machines, one for the back side of the apparel, one for the front side, and it cut our embroidery time down in half. And that's kind of what we were aiming for when we decided to buy another machine. It seems to work nicely. One thing that we may try for our next big order is to run all the fronts, and then this order was actually not a back, it was a sleeve order. So we'd run all the small fronts and then the sleeves separately, so I have both machines doing the same thing. The biggest thing that we ran into with running them differently was interval time. The sleeve took slightly longer than the small front did, so we were kind of piling up on one machine, and looking back, it'd probably be easier to run all the fronts on both machines and then all sleeves, because your sequencing would be a little bit better. But either way, it sped up our production time quite a bit. We looked into the possibility of buying a S-1502, which is the double head machine, and I just thought that having separate machines so we can be running two separate orders instead of having a double head machine where it's dedicated to the same thing on both heads would work better for us. If we start seeing more orders where it's large corporate orders, we'll probably look into the S-1502. We would really like it for hats, because once you start running hats, some of our hat orders are, the logos are 20,000 stitches, and it's taken some time to run them. We run most of these hat orders, hats we can run right around 650 to 700 stitches a minute, but once you start getting a really long, 20,000 stitches, that takes some time. So being able to run two of those simultaneously would be nice, but so far we haven't had to pull the trigger on that. So that is the stand essentially set up. I think there's one more crossbar in the back that I have to put on there. But like I said, it's solid. We've never had a problem with the machine. I've went through a couple times just to make sure on our previous machine that all the bolts were tight. I've never had any bolts back out on us or anything like that. So like I said, they have lock washers on them. Once you tighten them up, we've had our other machine for probably a year and a half now. I've never had any issues with bolts backing out or anything like that. It's just one of those time-consuming things. You got to take the time to set it up right. Make sure you're using all your washers and screws. We had somebody call here that said that they skipped the washers and they had an issue with it. They used Loctite. What we found is that it's just really not necessary as long as you use the lock washer and the flat washer underneath the head of the screw. And then just make sure everything is square and tight. This is another one of those projects where it'd probably be easier to have two people doing it, one holding it, some of these cross members especially, and then another person screwing it in. But we just didn't, we had too many people doing too many different things, so I just took on the task and got it knocked out. It doesn't take all that long. It's just one of those patience things that you gotta take your time, make sure everything is screwed in tight. I didn't want to set a brand new machine on something that wasn't ready to go. Here you can see we got the machine set onto the stand. There are 4 bolts that actually bolt the machine to the stand. It's a little bit of a trick getting it through. There's a rubber pad that it sits on that has a hole in it, and then into the foot. My wife and I did this together. She has better eyesight than me, so we took a second, got the screw through the stand, and then because there's a little bit of movement, we just kind of hand tightened the first 3 screws, 4 screws, got them all hand tight, and then so it had a little bit of play to it, and then we were able to tighten them down with the Allen wrench when it was all said and done. After we got it all set up, we threaded the machine. It's partially threaded with just the threads pulled through, so we tied off to new thread, and then quickly just ran a quick test just to make sure that everything was running. Both machines were running good. Like I said, this was an investment for us. We had to decide if it was going to work from a production standpoint for our shop, what machine. But this first S-1501 that we had was rock solid. So we decided to go with another one. They did add some nice features on the newer S-1501, like the built-in Wi-Fi. You don't need the external antenna. It sounds like there's a different motor in it. I don't know if it is or if it's just geared different. It has a little bit different sound to it. Almost sounds more powerful when you're listening to it, but like I said, we tested them both out. We've run them both now for about a month, and they're working good for us. Well, that pretty much wraps it up. As you can see, we got it set up. We got it embroidering its first embroidery. Running good. I think it'll really speed up our production in the long haul. I don't know if we'll end up adding another one or if the next one will be a dual head, but we'll keep you posted on that. It's kind of one step at a time for us with embroidery. We're newer to it, but these machines are easy to use. As we've talked about before, the only thing that's a little hard with Smartstitch is customer support because they're in China. They do respond. There is some good Facebook groups, but it's usually in the middle of the night that they get a response. So timing-wise, it's a little bit hard. But I've never had them not respond or not be able to fix a problem or troubleshoot through video or chatting or reaching out to the tech support group on Facebook. We'll kind of keep you posted on this machine as we continue to use it, both our first one and our second one. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, turn on those notifications. You guys subscribing to our channel is what allows us to put this content out for you. You can always reach out to us with either orders or questions or comments on the stuff that we feature on our channel. Our shop phone number is 715-712-0085, and you can email us too at thegraphicspros@gmail.com. Like I said, hit that subscribe button. We'll get more content out to you. We got some exciting new machines coming into the shop. We'll walk you through it, and maybe it'll work for your shop as well. So we'll keep you informed, and we'll see you on the next video.